Welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, June. I got my boy Forrest with me. What's up, man?
Hey man, I had to wear my frontline shirt today, man. We gonna get it. We gonna get
Frontline.
into why though. We gonna get into why.
Okay. And Frontline Apparel is the official Foster gear there. And go ahead and
Absolutely.
plug it, man. You know,
I mean,
it's our show.
yeah. I mean, that's my clothing brand. Very fitting with the theme today. With our frontline doing what we did this weekend. But yeah, man, just check out Frontline Apparel on Instagram and hit me up if you need something.
So it's safe to say that our sponsor is Frontline Apparel. Our first sponsor is Frontline Apparel. Get your dope urban gear from Foster, Frontline Apparel. And wow, what a difference a week makes with that line. Like
Different.
it do hit different. Do your homework when your front line does its job. Foster, let's get right into it and let's jump into this game versus Atlanta. I didn't feel like let me take this back. For me, every game is a must-win game, especially after a loss. Now, it shouldn't be with it being the third game of the season. However, for me, it was a must-win game. I did not want to start the season off 1-2. So, is it safe to say, would you get it as a must-win game? I know we talked about it last week where we said the sky's not falling if it happens if we start off 1-2, but
I
weigh
feel
in
like
on that.
I feel like must win. I feel like must win is like when you say must win, you mean like panic if we don't win. And I don't necessarily think that it was for us, the pessimistic fan base that the Lions have and pessimistic fair weather people involved with the Lions. Yes, for them, absolutely. But I do think that losing two in a row at home, that would have been some red flags, given those circumstances.
The only reason I say it's must win because it's two in a row. You can't drop two games in a row in the beginning of the season.
You can if you win 9. If you go 9-2 the end of the year, like we did last. We lost a lot of games in a row last year.
Yeah, we started off 1-6. It hit different when you lose all those games. But we're talking about a team with high hopes, better expectations than last year. And I have a confession, Foster.
What's up?
Every time the last two drafts, I've snarled at the picks. I've been like, no, come on, man. Why'd you go this direction? No. Right? This year, the only time I was happy is when Brian Branch got picked in the second round.
You called it. That was a good one.
I felt like he was a first round talent, and I felt like my original picks were like that one defensive tackle in Philly. He's okay. He's all right. At number 6 and number 18, you would get like a Joey Porter Jr. or a Brian Branch. And that's what I was thinking as far as the Detroit Lions draft picks. But didn't go that way. And you wind up getting Gibbs, and then you wind up getting, was it Laporta first or Branch? It was Branch first, then Laporta.
Then Laporta.
I believe
Campbell.
so.
Campbell went in the first round, didn't he?
It was Campbell. Campbell
they said it was a reach because he went in the first and he could have won in the second.
But whenever I get mad at these picks, they get into the season and they get busy. Like, I wasn't a big fan of the Sam Laporta. Like, come on, man, we can get a tight end 4th round.
Oh, yeah. Remember you were carrying on about you don't get tight ends in the first. He went in the second, though. He went in the second.
I said the first round. You don't pick a tight end is in the first round. But there's an exception to every rule. Kyle Pitts, you have a remarkable talent at tight end that you
Kyle
have.
who? Kyle who?
Anyway, but you look at the Lions and their first round tight end picks, and it's been like, come on. I mean, am I wrong after we drafted Eric Ebron in the first round to Brown at a first round tight end pick? Can you fault me?
For that one, yeah. You no, you're
So
not wrong.
so it's like I'm shell shocked. It's not my fault. You draft Eric Ebron and you got that. No, let's let's pick up somebody. You can pick up one of those northern Idaho tight ends, the big corn-fed guys in the fifth round that's gonna do what you needed to do, you know. But I am no longer, and you can mark this now, I am no longer going to frown up at these draft picks because when I do, they show out. And we got some players of the games and offensive grades and stuff that we're gonna talk about some of these players. I don't want to talk about it right this instant, but Foster, give me your overall game summary about yesterday, man.
So yeah, everything definitely started with the defensive line. We needed more pressure. We needed some sacks. We needed to establish the line of scrimmage the way we did in the first game, and that's exactly what we did. We had 7 sacks. We got a couple sacks from linebackers, several sacks obviously from the defensive line as well. And they handled they did what they needed to do, and it was a pretty complete effort. Despite the fact that we had many injuries, one of the injuries that I totally forgot about was Kirby Joseph. Kirby Joseph didn't even play last game.
No, he didn't play. He didn't play a snap.
Obviously, CJ was already hurt. Houston was hurt. I can't think of anybody else on the defensive side, but that's plenty right there. I mean, CJ.
But
CJ
Foster, I told you when they said Kirby Joseph, when they said CJ was out, it was not a good thing. But at the same time, I said we got Brian Branch and Tracy Walker. We'll be fine.
Right.
And that was the case. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was pretty much it. But yeah, if he started the game and was not shy and hiding, he was right there. He was front and center. Even your boy Jacobs made some plays. What's his first name? Jerry Jacobs.
We'll get to him shortly.
Okay, that's pretty much that's the defense. I didn't even talk about the offense.
Okay,
they did that. I mean, we didn't have Montgomery, so Gibbs was shouldering the low pause, and he wasn't as active in the receiving in the receiving game, but he did. He was solid running the ball. I just think that the offensive line needs to get healthy because he really once we get back healthy on that side of things, he's really going to have some holes to run through because he's scary. He had a couple that he about broke.
I have a question, man, and maybe you can help me. Was Josh Reynolds and Marvin Jones hanging out together yesterday? Because I didn't see neither one of them on the field yesterday.
I saw Jones blocking. That much I can say. Hey
man, he's a wide receiver, man. That's not a stat for a wide receiver. The center block, bro.
It's not. But it can be very important now. It can be very important.
It's important, but
Reynolds,
on.
I don't think I even saw Reynolds.
Was he hurt yesterday? Because I didn't. He didn't have his number wasn't called.
His number wasn't called. It wasn't seen on my end. Maybe he was out there, but maybe I don't think anybody practiced. Nah, I noticed Marvin Jones number 0. You can't. It's hard to miss number 0 out there. But just about nobody.
That's the same number of receptions he had.
Right.
That.
Well, what's crazy is not. We only had Gibbs had 1. Okay, Raymond had some catches. Browns had some catches, and then Laporta, and that was it. Nobody else caught the ball the whole.
You said St. Brown, Khalif.
Yep. Laporta.
Laporta.
And Gibbs had like one catch. And that
Wow.
was it. He didn't get Goff didn't really spread the ball around too much. And I saw Green out there. Green was out there. He was blocking too. I think Jones is just, he's just
I'm
he's
sorry,
like
Foster, man.
he
When
looked
you
like
talk
Patrick
about the
Beverly
wide
out there.
receiving core and that's the highlight, well, they were blocking. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just not. Yeah.
You know how Patrick Beverly go out there and don't score no points,
Oh,
no
don't bring
assists.
up that.
He just
I
running
don't.
around out there. That's the way.
Don't bring up.
That's the way it felt watching
Well, hold
Marvin
on, though.
Jones out there.
Timeout.
Cardio, man,
Well,
cardio.
we are Detroit Lions
Of course.
first, and we're so representative of the Pistons. You will not bring up Patrick Beverly during this talk unless for some odd reason he winds up in Detroit. So let's leave Patrick Beverly out of this,
Let's
okay,
hope
brother?
not. Let's hope not.
Hey man, somebody gotta hold the clipboard. Anyway, so we can get into these offensive grades. So Foster, how did you grade the offense yesterday?
You saw my notepad. um,
Yeah.
offense, I graded it a B. They, for the
Uh-huh.
most part, took care of the ball. We scored. I mean, it's because offense is different than special teams, right?
It depends. The returns I consider offense.
Okay, but kind of
Like
special. No,
punt
we'll return to
return,
special teams though. That's special. Kicking,
we
I
can
guess, is special
we
teams.
we can. I mean, field goal, that's offense.
Yeah,
Scoring
kind
points.
of. Yeah,
The
yeah.
ability to score points, we're going to consider offense.
Well,
Let's do that.
Defense scores too.
Hey man, that's a rare occasion.
Safety. That's defense.
Hey, Foster, let's not get too technical.
No, it was
You
quite. No,
kick
what's
returns and
funny
punt
is
returns is offense. Let's just leave
I'm
it at that.
starting to. I almost want to downgrade because if by my theory, the kicker. So we scored 20 points, right?
For sure.
So Goff was the only No, Laporta had a touchdown too.
Yeah.
So I can't do the quick math. I think that means that 2 field goals were made. But like I said, they took care of the ball. I
Missed
feel
the
like
field goal too.
did we miss one too? I might have missed that.
There was a field goal where he no, I don't know if he missed a field goal or
Nah,
not.
I
I
don't
might
think
be
we missed.
thinking
I don't
about
think we
something.
missed a field goal.
I'm thinking
But
about another game.
But I definitely feel like we left some food on our plate, and we let the Falcons hang around in a game that I really feel like they never were in control of, but they were right there up until that last touchdown that I think Goff ran in, because I think the Laporta one was first, if I'm not mistaken. But Goff did have a rushing touchdown, which was quite remarkable to see, and he was very excited about it. And of course, he threw the bomb to Laporta that looked a whole lot. And I can't take credit for it, but somebody on Twitter said that that's the rookie first touchdown play, because Jamison Williams had a very similar play to that.
By design. It's
Yeah,
called Rookie
yeah,
Six.
pretty much. So Goff did have one. He had one series that he overthrew. I think he was throwing to somebody behind Laporta, but Laporta was so open, he thought it was to him. So Laporta kind of, I don't know if he tipped it or if he just kind of, extended like why isn't the ball come? Why isn't the ball right there? But anyways, that resulted in an incomplete pass. And then on the next play, he just airmailed it and threw it straight to somebody. So I think it was Bates got the interception, but Goff took some hits too. That offensive line.
He was under pressure. He was under
pressure. He took some hits. He had got up gingerly a few times. I was like, okay, but so I'm gonna give the offense actually I'm gonna give him a B minus. I don't want to give him a C plus. I feel like that may be a little harsh, but I feel like got to give some credit to the special teams too, because they kicked some field goals.
I gave them a B minus.
Okay.
You said B at first, but I gave him a B minus,
I did say a B at first, but I dropped out of B minus.
and the reason why we'll just mark it as a B minus. I mean, we're on the same page here.
Same page, same page.
Uh, the reason being is because of the interception. It was untimely.
Mhm.
Um, I was pissed when he threw it. Um, and I felt like the offensive line, we couldn't run the ball like we needed to early.
Yeah.
And this this team we is predicated on the ability to move the ball. The play calling was pretty good, I felt like, but the execution just wasn't there yesterday. The offensive line has to do a better job. I know there's second stringers in there, and then I think the tackle, the right tackle is to the third string, I
He
believe.
got hurt. Yeah, he
So
got hurt. One of the guys.
yeah, so I do understand the struggles there, like you implicated earlier. Hopefully, they get healthier sooner, and,
Thursday.
we have a game Thursday. So, I don't know, you just have to get better on the offensive line. I thought Jahmyr Gibbs did a good job in the second half. I saw opportunities. He almost broke a couple. He almost broke one where, but you can see the excessiveness with Gibbs, and I got hype in the fourth quarter when he was running the ball. So just if we if that was like an all game thing where we're able to run the ball, then you'll see a higher grade. So for that as well, I give it a B minus. So what would you give the offense, Foster?
Defense.
I mean defense. I'm sorry.
So the defense, I gave A minus. Um, they held the Falcons to 2 field goals. I feel like they bailed out the offense on several occasions. Certainly on the interception that I think gave the Falcons good field position, but they did their job. As many injuries as we had, which we talked about, C.J. Gardner Johnson, Kirby Joseph, James Houston. Uh, we they handled their business. Brian Branch was amazing. Our defensive line had 5 sacks. Our linebackers had 2 sacks. It was a pretty complete effort out of them. You can't really ask for too much more. It's pretty hard to shut a team out. So you think 2 field goals, they did a pretty good job. And you got to think, the Falcons have some weapons out there. The quarterback is not that great, but Bijan Robinson was supposed to run all over us. Our boy on the round table had it. He was
Let
certain
him
that
tell it.
he let him tell it. Hey, and I'll tell you what, that backup running back was almost scarier. That dude was kind of hard to bring down.
Yeah.
He ran over Anzalone something bold one time, and
Yeah.
gave Branch the business too on that play. Like that dude is pretty tough to take down. Branch got his lick back on Bijan though, but yeah, overall, a complete effort, and yeah, I can't say enough about Brian Branch and some other guys that that we'll talk about in a little bit.
I definitely graded the defense a high grade with an A minus. The sacks, the pressure, uh, you held them without a touchdown, and they didn't get that second field goal until the game was pretty much out of hand. In my opinion, I knew the game
Right.
was over when they finally kicked that last field goal. The turnover at the end of the game to seal it with the sack and the strip.
Oh, who
Hutch
got who,
got a
who got
sack
it?
and strip. It was
Okay,
Hutch.
got you.
He got a sack, forced a fumble, and recovered it, and then you're kneeling. So they ended it with a bang. They played consistently the whole game. Uh 7 sacks, you said?
7.
Or was it 5? It was 7.
No, five from the D line, two from the linebackers.
Okay, we don't. we're gonna leave it at 7. I don't care who
Seven
gets it.
sacks, seven sacks, 7 sacks.
7. If you blitz with the corner and get a sack, sack.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be too particular who gives the sack, but
Oh yeah.
it was definitely for a team that only had 1 sack, 2 sacks. Was it 2 or 1? The first 2 games.
No, they didn't have any sacks in the first
Was
game.
it it
None.
it was just that 1 sack with Anzalone. For a
That was in
team
the
that
second
had
game,
1
right?
sack, yeah, a team that had 1 sack in 2 games and you get 7, you're gonna get a lot of praise from me from a defense. I mean, anytime you get 7 sacks in a game, you're doing something, and that defense played, uh the defense played pretty well. There was I wanna point nobody out, but we gotta get better in coverage, though. We have to get better in coverage. But before we talk about the coach's grade, we gotta pay some bills, man. So, bills have been paid, and Foster, what we have is the coach's grade. Now, remember last week we were a little rough on the coaches. Was this a redemption game for the coaches as far as grade wise? I know Aaron Glenn has probably slept a little bit better last night, but I'll let you talk and talk about the grade there.
Yeah, I gave the coaches an A minus. They made the adjustments that we emphasized heavily that they needed to make. Everybody jumped on Aaron Glenn's back and was ready to call for his job after the last week, and he jumped. He bounced back. He probably, speaking of sleep, I don't think he got any. He probably got a little wink yesterday because he's got a short week before Thursday. But yeah, ain't no way he slept much in between last Sunday and this past Sunday. But yeah, overall, despite the injuries that we had, they were able to make those adjustments with some backup, defensive guys, and we got to the quarterback, which was so important for us to do. And Dan Campbell, as opposed to going for a couple of those plays where we might have left three points on the field. He just kicked the field goal. Kicker did his job, made the field goal, and he punted. He punted. And we have one of the best kids. We have one of the best punters in the game. We can't act like he's some bum out there. He's a pretty good punter. So
he flipped the field a couple times. And before I want to interject, and I had to think about it when the coach makes a decision to go for it or to play, a lot of it weighs upon how well your defense is playing. So I kind of understood it better after, a few days after the loss, because that kind of should dictate whether you're going to go for something and leave it to you and in your defense's hands, or punt it away and let you've been playing great defense, or your defense is on today. You can, with a punter like you have that flips the field, or capable of flipping the field, or just pinning them back, kick it through the end zone if you got to. But it just depends on how well your defense is playing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
no, you're good. But it still comes back down to the coaching, and that plays into how well, if your defense is playing well or not. Sometimes it's how well you coach them up as well. So it's a domino effect.
Okay, so with that being said, have our players of the game, and let's start with the offensive player of the game. Who you got, Foster?
On the offensive side, I got Sam Laporta. He scored the lone receiving touchdown. I want to say he had like 80 yards, like 60 to 80 yards of receiving, and he broke a couple long catches, and shout outs to him. He got his first career touchdown, which is exciting. And yeah, it's not too much to say about it. He looked good. He's the only tight end that got a catch. So he must have got a whole bunch of snaps, I would assume.
He definitely looked the part, and when you have a tight end, uh, that's getting those catches early, because he was involved early. He was involved early. It does so much for your wideouts. So you know, when you're worried about that tight end over the middle running up the seam, you can't you gotta have a safety, watching, because the linebacker can't always do it. You have to have your safety, and that takes away a double team. And then if you're running a three wide receiver set with a with a tight end, you know what I'm saying? It does so much when you have to account for all those. You're going to get one on one coverage, and that's what that's what it's all about, matchups. So me myself personally, I my player of the game was Sam Laporta. You could have, I guess, it was kind of obvious.
Kind
You
of.
know, you can make a case for Gibbs, but he didn't score a touchdown. You can make a
Brown too.
case for Brown. He had some key catches,
Yep.
but Laporta gets my vote as well. So with that being said, defensive player of the week, Foster.
So defensive player of the game, I went with Hutch. I really wanted to give it to Brian Branch because he had a really, really good game. But just the way that Hutch sets the tone. I mean, no matter what, sometimes, because I feel like early in the game, I was like, I feel like Hutch is out there by himself sometimes on that defensive line. Like if nobody else is getting pressure, Hutch is getting the pressure. So his teammates definitely picked up behind him and picked up the slack a little bit. But yeah, Hutch had 2 sacks. He had the strip sack at the end of the game, and just more than anything, the impact that just the way he led the rest of the defensive line to follow suit, because Bugs was doing his thing. Charles Harris had a sack, and
Mhm.
a multitude of other dudes had sacks. So it was a group effort, but it was led by Hutch, and he was actually the highest scoring, had the highest grade amongst all defenders. So it was kind of I won't say it was a no-brainer, but it's he made a good
It's
case for
not a
himself.
no-brainer because of how good Brian Branch played.
For sure. For sure.
So it was like, for me, I picked originally Brian Branch,
Yeah.
and I'm not mad at you for picking Hutch. Like, the one thing I love about Hutch, and I'm gonna tell you, is like he gets double teamed, he gets held, uh, but you see the same effort every snap. Uh, Even if he doesn't get to the quarterback, even if he doesn't get discouraged, he's giving that effort every snap, every pass rush. I mean, he's spinning, he's doing swim moves, he's bull rushing, he's doing it all. So, and then uh they didn't have to move him around as much this game for him to get the pressure he was getting. So you got I'm not mad at you for giving it to her. I would have my vote went to Brian Branch, but this week's player of the week, we'll give it to Hutch, man. I mean, not give he earned it, so we'll leave it at that. So this is a segment where take a step back and I let Foster do his thing because he does such a marvelous job with it. This is our featured player of the week, where Foster picks out just a random player, and they not necessarily had to do anything good or bad. Just where we feature a Detroit line for the week. So we want to get to know our team, and we want our audience to know the team. Foster, without further ado, I'll let you do your thing and introduce to the people the player of the week. I mean, featured player of the week. My fault.
All right. So the feature player of this week is Derek Barnes, who is the Lions run stop specialist. He's actually the first 2 games of the year, he was our highest graded defensive player. He's in his 3rd year out of Purdue, where he played inside and outside linebacker. So this is his 3rd year, and despite the fact that he struggled his first 2 years, he broke out with a great camp, and it seemed like he had a chip on his shoulder. Obviously, the Lions drafted in the first round Jack Campbell, who was somebody that was likely going to take a lot of snaps away from Derek Barnes. His rookie year, he played 17 games and started 6 of them, and then his second year, he played in 15 games and started 4. The Lions are currently ranked 6th in defenses against the rush, and Derek Barnes has definitely been a major part of that. He's the highest graded defender, and he's been putting in some work. Thus far, he's got 1 sack, which he actually picked up last week, and he has 16 total tackles. And this is what he's doing, basically splitting time with Jack Campbell along with Malcolm Rodriguez. So pretty good production. He's on pace for a great year. And despite the fact that the Lions have a lot of injuries all over, not so much in the linebacking core, but in the defensive line and as well as the secondary, he's one of our most important guys right now. And right now, overall, we're ranked 17th, which is kind of middle of the pack. But he's making it happen despite all the injuries that we're having. Outside of that, yeah, he had a pretty good game last week. Picked up a sack because that's not really his. It's not really his forte out of that weak side linebacker position, but he's showing a lot of versatility right now. And even though he had a rough first couple years where he was asked to play quite a bit, he definitely came into this year with a chip on his shoulder, ready to show that he's going to be a part of the reason that the Lions improve and from where they've been in the last couple years. So that is our featured player this week, Derek Barnes.
Give him a good Lions roar. Yo, Foss, we had a couple questions while we that I didn't notice, man. And my boy Celis, and I appreciate you for being here and checking this out. I'm gonna throw up on the screen there, and I have my answer, but I'll let you tackle this question. Celis want to know: do the Lions have an upper echelon receiving core?
I say that it's very. For one, I'll say it depends on if you're referring if we're counting Jamison Williams, because I think that helps. I mean, I think that would help our case to be considered upper echelon. As far as I'm concerned, it's kind of middle of the pack. Josh Reynolds helped make our case, though. You know, we all know what Amon-Ra St. Brown does, but Josh Reynolds, the last few games, not counting this last game, Josh Reynolds has definitely helped shoulder the load. Marvin Jones has been very quiet, and we have a damn good tight end who doesn't factor into that receiving core. So, and neither do our running backs. So I would say middle of the pack. And you also can't sleep on Khalif Raymond. Khalif Raymond is our deep threat, and I think Goff missed him on one. Did you remember? Do you recall that?
Yeah, he missed him.
Yeah, Goff missed him on a bomb that I think would have been a touchdown, but it was like 40, 50 yards. So can't sleep on Khalif Raymond at all.
So with that, he's counting the tight ends as a Laporta as a part of the.
Oh, you count Laporta? Oh, okay, yeah. I mean
tight ends are receivers. So
Laporta looked real good. He's definitely coming into his own. So that helps the cause. That helps the cause too.
Well, I think they have a solid wide receiving core, even if you add Jamison Williams, because he hasn't put up any real stats yet. He has a lot to lot to show first. I mean, we know he's fast. We know he can make plays. He's had one catch, uh, period. So for I mean, in regular season, and we do have a very good receiver in St. Brown, but he is more like the slot, not sliding the slot at all. But uh, in order for him uh, to have a whole core, we need a couple of people on the outside that can put up those numbers. Josh Reynolds has been very serviceable. I also think with the addition of Laporta, the receiving core is better. But if you add JMO and he starts to put in numbers, I think you would have to add JMO, and he actually has to produce, and you would have to Josh Reynolds would have to step it up a little bit or add another receiver. Or Khalif Raymond actually has to they have to do a little bit more to be considered that. Not right now. They have a very solid wide receiving core, but uh, it's not upper echelon by no means, in my opinion.
No.
Very good one though. It's a good one though. It'll work. It'll do what we needed to do. I mean, uh, yeah, you can say that. So, that does it for week 3. Week 4, and it's a quick turnaround. Thursday night. We're going to Lambeau, right?
Correct.
Going to Lambeau Thursday. Foster, Green Bay they haven't looked bad. They've been pretty good.
They lost to
They
the
lost
Falcons, though.
they lost to the Falcons, but that was a close game. So I thought they would be horrible, to be honest. No Aaron Rodgers, and I just thought they weren't going to be very good. But with before the Aaron Jones injury, and with that defense, I figured they were leaning on those factors and were doing pretty good. Are you concerned about this game from a win-loss perspective, not a season perspective, but for a win-loss perspective?
No, I'm pretty comfortable going into this game. Um, we beat them last year in the last game of the year where they needed it. That was a game that they put all the chips on the table for that game. And when it came down to it, in Lambeau in January, so we talking about that's pretty hostile, and it's probably snowing. Like this was designed for the Packers to get the job done, and we got them up out of there. So insert this year, they don't have the same receivers they had last year, and they don't have Aaron Rodgers. They got Jordan Love, who's been
He's a
relatively.
professional
He's
NFL player.
He's a professional.
Okay,
and
let's give some context to that because
yeah,
we have a panel every Wednesday with North Division representatives where we have a show every Wednesday, and there's a guy from the Bears, there's a guy from the poor Bears. There's a guy from the Vikings, and we have this Green Bay guy, and he stresses that their quarterback is a professional quarterback. He's a real quarterback. Goff, in his words, we should have drafted a quarterback because we don't have one. Goff's not it. But Love is the ultimate professional quarterback, and he had the highest quarterback rating in game 1?
in week
When he
1,
threw
yeah.
for 11 for 25. But anyway, uh, he was looking at the wrong stat. That QB rating that he thought that he had wasn't it. But uh, I'm not worried about Love right now. Foster, I mean, Sellers, I hear you. I hear you. But Love has a lot to prove for me to say he's going to be like Rodgers. Rodgers came in and was
He was
lighting it
good
up
out the gate. Yeah.
right after Farr. So it was like, I don't know, man. I worry about this game because it's in Lambeau. Uh, it's quick turnaround. Our offensive line is depleted. I just and I don't know. It's one of those games where we're going to have to gut it out. We're
The
going
one
to
thing
have
I
to
like,
win it. Go ahead, Afar.
I
Sorry.
was just gonna say the one thing I like is the fact that we sat a couple guys last week that I feel like if the season was on the line, they would have played. I think that they knew that we had a short turnaround after Sunday, and that we might as well load up for the more important game when it's all said and done. Divisional on the road. I feel like Montgomery could have fought through and played. I feel like Kirby Joseph would have played. I feel like a couple of those dudes are going to play in this next game. Okay. All right.
I mean, I
All right.
take your word for it, Sellers. I mean, you
Yeah.
know what you're talking about. Huh? We'll
Because
see though.
yeah, his throwing percentage hasn't been very good. He was 22 or 24. That's 50%, like almost under 50%, which is kind of
Mhm.
crazy. Especially we're used to golf. Golf only has a couple incompletions for the entire game. Like when he does miss on something, we're like, whoa, like what is golf doing? And I can't imagine what it would
A
look like
couple of those
him.
misses, he's hit a defender in stride.
He
So
tends to
yeah, let's.
do that. That's how accurate he is. If it's not hitting our guys, it's hitting their guys square in the hands. I don't know what that
We're in
is.
the numbers. Like,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah. It's like
they have
whoa,
room to run and everything. They be
for
wide
nothing.
open.
Yeah, but
So
yeah, I did love. I don't know. Like I said, he's definitely thrown some touchdowns, which has helped his which has helped his argument, I guess. But just when you look at the passing percentages, and I haven't seen too many of their games, but
they've been horrible. They've been horrible.
yeah,
I've
like
watched all.
50%, like
Paid attention to his to his stats every game because of the affiliate Green Bay we deal with, and I pay attention. But one thing he
interesting.
does, he throws a lot of touchdown passes. He does
Yeah.
do that. I think he had 6 the first 2 games, and I think he had a couple this last game in a comeback win. So,
Yeah, they were
um,
down. They were
yeah,
down.
they were down. They were down. He took advantage of, Derek Carr going out, and, they were down in the 4th quarter, and they scored 2 touchdowns, and they got back in it. They won the game. They won the game. So, uh, this is a game where I don't like Lambeau. I don't like Lambeau. But with that being said, Foster, I'm putting it all on you this week,
Okay.
as I usually do, for your prediction for the game. What's the score? Who do you predict winning? I need to know all of that. And it's all on you. I'm not giving a prediction. It's you. So I can have
Okay.
somebody to blame if we lose.
Okay. So, well, the one thing that I didn't discuss yet is the fact that the Green Bay Packers have the sixth worst defense against the run. I think that
So
is
you've
a.
done you did your homework.
I did my homework. Their secondary does grade out pretty good, because overall they are 16th overall, which is middle of the pack like we are.
Alexander.
But if they're
Alexander's a beast.
yes, yes, yes. So
He's a beast.
for them to be the sixth worst against the rush, they gotta be pretty good against the pass. But I think that that's something that we can exploit. As far as their offense, they're not. It doesn't scare me. I don't know. Jordan Love it's just okay for the time being. Obviously, he's young. He's only started a few games thus far, but it just doesn't scare me. I don't think that their weapons on offense really scare me. I think their best receiver is
He's out.
he's out, right? The
The
top
Watson.
receiver last week was right. It's Romeo Dubs, Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed went to state. I know that. Um, But yeah, I don't even recognize these guys on. I don't even recognize these guys on the receiving corps. So, so yeah, I got the Lions. I think this game might actually not. And with
It's gonna be like
I
a
think we're going to be
roll.
much healthier this week. I think Montgomery's going to play. I think Reynolds is going to appear. Is going to be more present this week. I got the Lions 31-17 in Lambeau.
31.
I'm gonna put some points up.
Whoa, Frost.
That rush defense is just glaring to me. Six worse against the run.
I mean,
Middle of the pack wideouts. Hey, we got running backs too. Running backs too.
Hey, Sellers, quit playing with that, man. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this, bro. Yeah, I don't. No, we're not. Don't you bring those picks towards golf, Sellers? That's 24-10. You say 24-10. Who?
You got to be talking Lions. There's no way.
Ain't no telling what Sellers. Sellers said we were going to start off 1-2, and I was nervous after they dropped their second game. I'm like, doggone.
Wasn't right, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He had me thinking like, oh my gosh, 1-2. Okay, he picked the Lions.
Okay.
Well,
middle of the pack.
Yeah, middle of
the pack.
Yeah, that's crazy. But it's time for me to step up. And this week, Foster, I'm not going to leave you hanging.
Oh, so this one you want to now you feel confident enough to say.
I feel confident with my pick and who I think is going to win. So going into this game, after some thought, I'm going to predict that the Lions will